Welcome to Converting Decimals, Fractions, and Percents. Let's take a look at this question over here. 14 over 20. So, what's the first thing that we can do? We can simplify. Divided by 2, and this equals 7 over 10. Okay, so how do we convert 7 over 10 to a decimal and a percent? So, converting it to a percent is really easy, because percent means over 100. Okay, so if we were to convert this to a percent, we can multiply the top by 10 and the bottom by 10, and it becomes 70 over 100. So that's 70%. Okay, and then how do we convert this to a decimal? Well, 7 over 10 is the same as 7 tenths, which is 7 tenths. This is just 3 ways to write 7 tenths, which is just 0.7. Okay? Let's take a look at this question. We need to convert it to a decimal and a percent. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to simplify it. Equals 1 plus, divide this by 3 and this by 3. 1 plus 4 over 5. Now we want this to be over 100. Okay? So then we can multiply this by 20, because 5 times 20 is 100. Then we can multiply the top by 20. So then this becomes 80 over 100. So 1 plus 80 over 100. If you didn't catch what I did, here's another way to write that. 4 over 5, multiply the top by 2 and the bottom by 2. So that's 8 over 10. You multiply the top by 10, bottom by 10. You have 80 over 100. Okay? Now we're going to convert this to a percent. So, this is the same as 1 times 100 over 100, right? 1 is the same as 1 times 100 over 100. Then we're adding 80 over 100. So that becomes 100 plus 80 each over 100, which is just 180 over 100, over 100. So, because percent means over 100, this is 180%. And to convert this to a decimal, what we would do is, we would take a look back over here. So, 180 over 100 is 180 hundredths. Okay, which is 180 times 0.01, because 0.01 is a hundredth, which is 1.80. So that's converted to a decimal. Okay, you can pause for a second and see what I did there. Okay, now let's look at this. 5 over 9. So it's really difficult to turn this denominator into 100. Okay? So what we could do here is, this is a different strategy to solve. So we'll divide 9 by 5. Okay? Because 5 over 9 is the same as 5 divided by 9. Well, not 5 divided by 9, which means 5 is actually inside. So it's 5 divided by 9. So now we just do a short division here. So this is 5.0 divided by 9. You can subtract 4.5. That's 0.5. And this becomes 0.50 minus 0.45. It becomes 0.05 minus 0.045. And this just goes on forever. And this becomes 0.55555. Okay, you could do the division by yourself, because that's not the skill that we're testing right now, but yeah. So this becomes 0.55555, and the way we would write that in a decimal would be 0.56, because we usually round to the nearest hundredth. Okay, and then another way to write this as a percent is 56%. Right? Because 0.56 is 56 hundredths. So that's 56%. Okay? Or a better way to write this actually is it's 56 hundredths. So it's 56%. Okay? Now let's take a look at this over here. Convert to a fraction and percent. So 0.56 is, let me do this in a different color, is 56 hundredths. So it's 56 over 100. And now you can simplify. Divide the top by 4 and the bottom by 4. Becomes 14 over 25. You could do this reducing by yourself. And that's what it is as a fraction. And as a percent, take a look at this over here. That's 56 over 100, which is 56% per 100. Okay? Now let's take a look at this, 1.8. We're converting to a fraction and a percent. So 1.8 is the same as 18 tenths, which is just 18 over 10, right? So 18 over 10 is 180 over 100, right? Multiply the top by 10, the bottom by 10. So that's 180%. Let's go back here. We have a percentage, but now we want a fraction. 18 over 10, you could divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2. You're left with 9 over 5. That's your fraction. Okay? When we're asking for a fraction, we always want the most reduced fraction. Okay, so if you just wrote 180 over 10 over 100, then you would be incorrect. Okay? Let's take a look at this. 0.0004. Okay? So, one sec. 0.001 is a thousandth. So 4 times 0.001 is 4 thousandths, which is 4 over 1,000. Okay? Now we want this to be in a fraction and in a percent. So to simplify this fraction, divide by 4, divide by 4, this equals 1 over 250. That's your fraction. Okay, you could do this reducing by yourself. And the next thing is we want it to be in decimal. Okay? Well, not decimal, sorry. We want it to be in a percent. So, let's take a look at this. 4 over 1,000, we want the denominator to be over 100. So, what we did here is we divided this by 10, and what you do on the bottom or top, you also have to do on the other one, right? So if I divide the bottom by 10, I have to divide the top by 10. This becomes 0.4 over 100. So that is 0.4 per 100, which is 0.4%. Okay? And that's converting decimals, fractions, and percents.